Oh my God, who we got sitting right here tonight? Look at this. Look at all these wonderful people, and what's with the balloons behind us here tonight?
I don't know.
How exciting is that? Wow.
200.
I know.
What is that all about?
You're 200 today.
200 and a half.
Wow.
200.5 starting now.
Episode 200.5.
Best hobby in the world with all the best people in it.
All right.
Sitting all around me, ready? Give us a countdown. And let's do
Countdown.
show number. We'll just do this. Ready?
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you. And by GL Robotics. With over 61 colors of 3D printing filaments in stock, your gateway to new technology. Check out their website at glroboticsusa.com. Additional support is provided by Spring Creek Model Trains, your destination for model trains. Stop in and say, wow. Check out their website at springcreekmodeltrains.com. Further support is provided by Microengineering, keeping you on track with quality products for 55 years. Check out their website at www.microengineering.com. Order from your local dealer or order direct by calling 1-800-462-6975. Additional support is provided by Yelsma Graphics, America's leading distributor of quality railroad art and embroidered clothing since 1985. Check out their website at yelsma.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast.
This is the What's Neat This Week show for July 2nd, 2022. I'm your host, Ken Patterson, the host of the What's Neat show over at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. And tonight we're going to bring you a special show, and that tonight's show is number 200! Yeah. Right? How amazing is that? We've got Richard running camera for us tonight. Thank you, Richard, Austin Allard, and all of our favorite friends, Mitchell Before. Look at all the wonderful people in the audience tonight. Thank you for being here. It's awesome to have you.
All right.
So I wanted to say that show number 200 is a special show in that all of our lives have changed from show number 1, when this idea was Chris Palomares' idea to even create this show to begin with, way back in 2017. And then from show number 100, where we had the original cast and crew sitting down here in the same spots at this table, to show number 200. How much everybody's lives have changed for the better. I want to say that my life, as you all have seen, has changed a great deal in that I'm happy every single day. Thank you very much for that. As I want to do the introductions around the table real quick here, I've got sitting on this end, as we always do, I've got Mike Budde. Hey, Mike.
Hi, everybody.
It's good to have you. You have shared so many vehicles over the years with us on this show. It's almost like you create a new project every single week. How do you do that? I don't even know.
Well, a lot of it's not new. A lot of it's old stuff. I'm recycling old projects. I'm always working on a lot of different things at once. You probably figured that out by now.
It looks great.
Thanks.
Going all the way on the other hand here over Richard, I want to introduce Jeff Kuebler. Jeff, you're here tonight to talk about the RPM meet, which is coming up in just a few weeks. And sitting next to you is your cohort, Lonnie Bathurst. Which, Lonnie, you are a financial advisor that has given a lot of us a lot of good financial advice over the years. Congratulations on the years of tenure. You're still in business. That says a lot about your credibility and what you do.
Thank you.
Sitting right next to Lonnie, I've got my favorite Ivy League educated friend, James Regier.
Hi,
James.
everybody.
It's good to have you here tonight. Sitting right next to James, we've got our favorite sugar fire, Joshua Barton.
What's up, everybody?
Sitting right next to me, I've got my favorite Holly Van Lanagam, otherwise known as Holly Ann.
Hi, everyone.
And the new love of my life. Thank you, Holly, for making everything good every day around here. And I can't wait to see what you model in this hobby next. There's a lot of neat stuff going on. There's a lot of things to be excited about since we started this show, in that everything is nothing but good because, again, this is the best hobby in the world. I want to start by sharing some of the sponsors that we've had in the past that have helped us support this hobby. Starting with a recent one we just had was Home Shops. Home Shops, as you remember, makes freelance freight cars, all of those beautiful cars from Tangent Models that we featured 2 shows ago. Thank you very much, Christopher Palomeri, for what you have done to help us so far promote the hobby. Also, Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply. Jeff Otto was one of our first sponsors when we didn't even know we could have a sponsor. He bought us pizzas every Saturday night. And boy, have we raised the prices on him since then. But he has done well with the most beautiful, detailed track products to make your track look that much better.
They're works of art in themselves.
Yeah, they are.
Yes.
Absolutely right. I got to talk about Spring Creek Model Trains out in Deshler, Nebraska. Dave, Deb, Mike, and Jeff. All the wonderful folks that you get to meet at train shows. Sometimes in the same weekend, they divide up and work 2 shows the same weekend. Those folks are amazing, but they still have a great shop out there in Deshler, Nebraska. Stop in and say wow. We love you guys out there. Now, I've got to say, Denny Yelsma. Denny absolutely loves you. He loves your cooking.
Hi, Denny.
Denny Yelsma from Yelsma Graphics, Yelsma.com, has supplied us with so many different hats that we've handed out at the RPM meets and NMRA shows and different events to help promote this hobby for us and brand the show. And tonight, we're going to give away 2 hats, Joshua.
Here you are, Lonnie.
We're going to give one to Lonnie and one to Jeff. Lonnie picked the gold one. Jeff likes the brown one. And these are, again, stitched, the most beautiful stitched. We've seen so many train clubs over the last few years since Denny's helped us support the show add their colors to their club environment by having jackets and shirts and everything embroideried with their names on it and their club names on it. It's an absolutely amazing thing, and it's not going to be any different coming up in St. Louis with the RPM meet at the end of this month. That's the 29th and 30th, right, over in Collinsville, and an NMRA show that we'll have 2 weeks after that. We'll present a lot of hats with the What's Neat logos on them to help us promote this show. It's wonderful that all the support that we've received. Thank you, Denny. Now, I've got to say, I want to give a shout out to Jim Scorse at NCE Corporation. Jim has been one of the original sponsors that has helped us promote this hobby. And he is the gentleman and the whole crew of folks that he's got working with them that make the NCE Pro Cab and Power Cab. That's the system that we use on the layout every time we say, let's go run some trains. We sit down here and we run trains with the radio system. There's no better DCC system to power your small 4x8 or your great big club layout. It simply works, and that's all we ever want. So thank you very much, Jim Scorse, for helping us promote this hobby. I also want to give a shout out to our friends out there at Intermountain Railway Company, Dave, Ron, and Frank Angstead, 2 amazing people that have had early years in this hobby, going back as, I want to say, as early as 1990 when I first met them in the backyard, where we hit some golf balls off the cliff. And they have created so many amazing models in both N scale and HO scale for us in this hobby. And we've featured a lot of their beautiful models on the show with outdoor photography. So thank you very much, Intermountain Railway Company out in Longmont, Colorado. Also, Microengineering, I want to give a shout out to Debbie and Ron Rands. Thank you very much. They make some of the most beautiful track products in our industry, in our hobby. If you want that perfect looking main line on your layout and you don't want to have to hand layout, there's no better way to go than with simple microengineering track. Code 70, code 83, code 100, code 55. For you N-scalers out there, they even make code 40. It's absolutely beautiful, realistic looking track that makes your layout look that much better. Again, I want to thank very much Robert Steers at American Limited Models. Robert, in fact, supported both of our shows, the What's Neat show that we do for Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine every single month, and this podcast that we shoot every Saturday night with absolutely beautiful freight cars, plus they brought the They have purchased the Grant line of models and so many other small mom and pop companies that we may have otherwise lost. Robert and his partners have purchased and made them still available to us. Thank you very much. I want to give a shout out to G&L Robotics. Greg Summerland down in beautiful Dothan, Alabama. Greg is the gentleman makes those amazing robotic lawnmowers, which are perfect for your garden railroad and or the 3D printers that James uses and I've been using. And a lot of the folks that watch the show have purchased from him. His customer service is second to none, in that he'll even do live YouTube videos to help you set it up. Just a phone call away. Try getting that kind of service from Amazon. It's absolutely amazing. East Coast Circuits. Neil Moltz was here last week. He really loved you, Holly. And thank you very much, Neil, for dinner. But Neil makes the most amazing police cars and fire engines and fire apparatus with all the various LED flashing lights on them. He's got a full array of products, including highway barrels, and the latest thing is this arrow sign that goes on the back of trailers and vehicles. Neil Moltz, you'll be able to meet him at the NMRA National, and he'll be sharing all of his wares. He was on just a show last week. Also soundtracks, I've got to give a shout out to George Bogatuk and Nancy out in Durango, Colorado. You guys make a sound system that is second to none. Athearn has been using it for years in some of their most best products, and that is because what you guys make is absolutely amazing. You've brought our layouts to life, not just in, it's the sound effect. It's absolutely amazing what they have created over the years. TCS. Dan Mischio, we love you, brother. I hear you're going to be staying here at the house for about 10 days with me and Holly during the NMRA National, and you're welcome. The couch is all yours upstairs. But Dan Mischio works for TCS, and that's Train Control Systems, who have made these beautiful Amtrak locomotives, the Siemens locomotives, the sound systems in them for Bachmann Industries. Bachmann has recently been using your products in a lot of steam locomotive and diesel locomotives products. Again, another great sound system that absolutely does not fail when it comes time, running your trains on your layout. So we look forward to you. I've got to give one last shout out to Chris Palomares out at Athearn Trains. Of course, Chris isn't with Athearn anymore out there at Horizon, over there in Illinois, in Champaign, Illinois. Chris has moved on and created a few different business ventures on his own, but it was Chris's idea for us to do this show. This What's Neat weekly podcast, Chris. I thought you were absolutely nuts. But your idea and your thought process is exactly what this hobby needed. A weekly update to be able to be ahead of the magazines, whereas we can announce new products within a few days of them coming out, rather than waiting 2.5 months for the time lag in printing deadlines. And Chris, thank you very much for pushing us to do this. Now, I couldn't have done this show without all of the friends around me that we have had through the years. We've had 132 guests on this show that we have interviewed and otherwise have helped us promote great shows. We've done so many RPM meets where we've had 14 or 15 people in the studio with all the microphones we've got at our disposal in order to present a good, high-quality presentation. And then it's another thing that our sponsors have enabled us to do is increase the quality of the show productions with equipment and various things over the years so that we can bring you all the latest news and all the new things in this hobby. We've had 93 different manufacturers' products represented on this show. And if you look at whatsneat.com, that website, you can see pictures of all 132 guests with your name spelled correctly, and all photography, outdoor photos of all the models that we have featured on the show. And Joshua, I think you wanted to talk about Woody.
I want to talk about all kinds of stuff. So the first thing I want to bring up is, all the people that have helped us out with things, like Michael Woody. He made these great holders here. He made our What's Neat This Week sign that hangs down low. I mean, he's just a great fan and loves what we do, and we love him for watching,
He's a
and
wonderful country boy.
all of the rest of you too, so many of you let us into your house every single week, and we appreciate that. You could flip to anything else, but you want to watch us, and we appreciate that. And that's why I strive to come here as much as I can on my free time and, hang out with the greatest crew of people that I know,
Absolutely right. Right?
Right.
Before you get off that topic, I was going to say this at the end, but I want to add that now. I've watched you for years at the RPM, seen you at national meets, other things. You're a great spokesman for the hobby. not just here but everywhere. And you care about a lot of people, and you care about the hobby, and you have a tremendous amount of talent, and it shows, and it helps the hobby a lot.
Absolutely.
Great.
We are all better modelers because of you.
Right.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. It is true.
All right, guys, this show's all about you. I wanted to step out of the way and let you guys have it. Me and Hal are going to watch.
So Lonnie, you're here for the St. Louis RPM that's coming up here in just a few weeks. Why don't you give us some information about it, sir?
Okay, well, Jeff and I came this evening. We've worked hard since the last time, hundreds of hours each. And it's been a labor of love trying to make it a better show each year, a better event with more features than what we had before. And I think we're going to blow the roof off this year in terms of things we're doing. So you want to talk a little bit about what number it is and some stats on attendees and things?
Sure. It's our 16th year of having this. We had to take off for the COVID year. Everybody hated that. But last year, fantastic crowd.
Yeah.
We had almost 850 people come to that show. We were blown away. We really didn't know how it was going to go, but we really had an awesome turnout. We want to really thank all the modelers that turned out. It was stupendous. More models than we ever had. Just a fantastic crowd. And we had so many positive comments that people were just overjoyed to get out of their basement and share what they had done during COVID. So it was really great to be back. Lonnie really pushed forward on this show and not only said that we were going to be back again, but we're going to be back bigger than ever. We worked with the Gateway Center and we got 50% more floor space. We had some problems the year before with model tables. We ran out. There were so many people that brought models. We were out of table display space for modelers to show off their wares within the first 2 hours of that RPM meet, which is unheard of. So,
Jeff, how many square feet are you going to have this year?
we have 38,000 square feet
Wow.
going, which is like I say, this is huge. We'll have 120 tables for your models, for you to bring and display. So bring them on. We've got space this year.
To add to that, we've started an early models program to where within the next week we'll put out through the internet as well as on our website inviting these modelers to come at 8 o'clock that morning, come in through the back door. I think it's going to be Dock C for them.
That's right.
And the deal is that if you're bringing a couple of dozen models or a diorama or something large and you need time to set up, we'll get you in the back door, give you a temporary ID, and let you set things up before things start. The other modelers that come in the front door, if we see you've got a box full of stuff, we'll have a special line to get you through there faster than the other attendees. We've found that what we call game day, when you start this, there are hundreds of people outside waiting to get in. There's a couple hundred people to come in the docks, and it's total chaos. So we've tried to reorganize, and by adding 50% space, you change the footprint of the facility. So we're coming in different doors if you're an attendee. We're coming in different doors and docks if you're an exhibitor. The models have been moved this year. By having this other room, we decided that the entire room, what they call, was that Center Hall B?
Right.
So all of that will hold these 120 tables. Those modelers will have their own dock door to come in. And then we're going to try, with help from the Gateway Center, at about 5:15 on the first night, to pull that giant wall closed. So we'll close off that entire hallway and have just the models on display. The vendors, exhibitors can rest. They can come and look at the models, and you can walk around in there without them worried about people fiddling with their wares.
Oh, nice.
And just be a place to kibitz. And right there is the, I call it a cafeteria, but it's really a snack bar. So you can have beverages and snacks and hang out for about an hour and a half before the keynote speakers starts.
Very
So
cool.
something different. That it's about the models. You know, sometimes I think growing to as big as we've become, some worry that it takes away the flavor, the culture of an RPM. But if we keep the focus on the models and bring in top-notch exhibitors that say, here's what we're doing, what else would you like us to do? they come and they talk and they exchange ideas, meet new people, and that modeling room that night we think will help do that.
Great, that's awesome.
This is going to be year 10 that we have covered your show on the What's Neat show at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine, where we have interviewed generally 14 people at every event and shown all the models as segues just to share it. And I can tell you, and we showed that off last year on the show when we discussed the coming up to the RPM last year, was how we've seen the show grow from an intimate environment of a lot of close local modelers to almost an international environment of modelers from Australia and around the world now that come and exhibit their models. It's absolutely commendable to what you have done. It used to be that show down in Florida that they would
Cocoa
always
Beach?
talk about,
Yeah.
Cocoa Beach, was the one to-go show that we all wanted to go to, A, because it was cold here, and B, we just wanted to go to Florida, right? And I want to say that St. Louis has, since those years now, rivaled that. Not that we're trying to beat anybody at this game, but it's become the one center point in the United States where it's easy enough for all of us to convey and get together and show all of our works together. So absolutely you're to be commended, and we so look forward to seeing one of the stars of the show, Michael Gross.
Sure.
We absolutely love Michael from Family Ties. He has been down here, he has done segments of video for us in the basement. I am humbled absolutely to be able to just know that he's a fellow model railroader.
Yeah, he's great. Friendly as could be. In his position, you don't have to talk to the rank and file people, and he's out there
Yes.
convincing
Right.
with everybody, and he
Right.
loves it. He engages, shares ideas.
Very knowledgeable about the railroad community and about the Santa Fe Railroad. So.
Right.
Yeah, oh yes, and weathering.
Yes.
A couple other points. Can I go back to that?
Go ahead.
To build on this idea of the RPM, I go to Cocoa Beach and I go to Naperville in all the years they've had it, tried some of the others. To me, the whole concept of RPM is a wonderful thing, regardless of where it's at in the country, how big or small it is, what they do. You exchange ideas, you meet new people, you see wonderful models. It's great. So I would suggest to everyone watching, go to as many as you can. Those in your part of the country, and then come to some of these 2 or 3 bigger ones. I think you'll learn a lot and enjoy it. To your point earlier, we talked about the NMRA event coming up.
Yes.
We're both back-to-back this year. Almost all the same exhibitors are coming back for ours this year, and some will be there as well. I'm going to spend the whole week at the NMRA working. I'm a St. Louisan, even though I live in Illinois. This is my NMRA, my time. It may not come back to this area for 20
Right,
years,
absolutely.
so I'm going to help. And it's all about promoting the hobby, as you do so well. So I'd say, yes, please come to ours, but go to others as well. Another thing we've done at ours is the keynote speaker. And we started this about 3 or 4 years ago when we developed a theme. And I sort of grew this from the Chicago meets, in that one year I was there and the theme wasn't really a theme, but they seemed to talk a lot about operating. And they had clinic after clinic after clinic on various types of operation. I went to all of them and thought, what if you developed a theme for these RPMs, and at your program, maybe half of the clinics would talk about a certain thing. So we started one year with grain. Another year we dubbed it moving people, when the topic was passenger trains, followed up with coal. And this year, when I first talked to John Golden about this, who started this St. Louis RPM.
Yes, John
Right.
Golden,
Yeah.
right?
Good old John, yeah.
How many
And-
times did Dave Davis, him and I
Yeah.
would talk, and John Golden was right there in the conversation.
Yeah, and Dan Kohlberg worked for many, many
Dan
years.
Kohlberg.
John's been overseas, busy with family and work, and Dan has pursued other business interests, as you know. But in this, and talking about the theme and developing that, I said this year, I said, John, you know, if it's our 15th anniversary of probably 16, 18 years of having shows off and on, why don't we go back in time and think about the kit?
Right.
All of us kind of started with a kit.
Yeah.
And whether it was a basswood kit of a freight car or a structure of some sort, or you moved on to styrene or resin or pot metal or whatever that was made of, all the things we have done over the years kind of started that way. So we're going back, and we have clinicians on all of that, all of those materials, the resin, the metal, the wood, the styrene, the whole bit, structures, freight cars, and so forth. And a lot of them are manufacturers.
Right.
So they'll give clinics on that. Then the other half are all the usual topics that we all like to enjoy. But our keynote is talking about manufacturing. So when we pick a keynote speaker, we try to get someone who looks at the industry, whether it was grain or passenger or whatever. And this year, Brian Wood is talking about manufacturing. He's an incredibly intelligent guy, I believe an engineering background.
Right.
So he has watched manufacturing come up through all of these mediums we use in the hobby, and he's going to talk about that and then go forward and talk about 3D and some other things on the forefront that will be in our hobby sometime.
Brian Wood is another gentleman that has come out here and helped us support the hobby because he creates a lot of amazing flat car loads and flat cars, as I recall, transformer loads.
Yeah.
So I look for, and also UP passenger cars.
Yeah, he makes the entire Union Pacific business fleet.
So he was another gentleman that also helped us promote the show at one time or another, and I've talked to him on the phone, and he's going to come back. But you're right. It's amazing the people that your show draws, that the show draws. I mean, the top-notch modelers, the top-notch mom and... Well, what happens is, as we've seen Campbell Rice do on the show, where he's got a passion so much for the hobby with one certain aspect of the hobby, in his case, Illinois Central Cabooses, all of a sudden he becomes a mom-and-pop, small-time manufacturer, which is what our whole industry is created out of, or these small cottage industries. And that's one thing that we tried to strive for on this show, was to be able to give them a voice. Whereas it's not just a little business-size ad in the back of a magazine. You get to actually expose your product, get it photographed outside here, and show what it is, your passion for the hobby. It's the mom and pop people that have developed this hobby since it really started with the concept that Model Railroader magazine was around since about 1932 to 1935. This has always been a Depression era oriented hobby. When times get tough, people retreat to their basements, as we saw happen with COVID. With COVID, it was 14 months of Christmas for so many different manufacturers, not celebrating the fact that so many people didn't have a great time through that. But when it came to the hobby, people weren't taking their boats out. They weren't traveling. They weren't going to hotels, Disney, all the different places. They retreated to their passion in their basement.
We bought everything from Lombard Hobbies and had it shipped and stayed in the basement the whole time.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go on forever about the history of this hobby and how much the diversity of it, the youth in the hobby. Shall we talk about Daniel?
Yeah.
Where did wonderful Daniel show up?
Yeah.
Mrs. Coombs, and I mean, just amazing. We've known him since he was 12 years old. And he started coming around here. He could rattle off the names of the manufacturer, and I'm like, "Who is this prodigy? Who is this? Who is this wonderful child?"
And now he works on trains, real
Right,
trains,
for a living.
Right?
Right.
And we've been able to watch him grow up through so many episodes of the What's Neat show and the podcast both. I love that clip we opened the show with when he earned his Eagle Scout
Scout,
award,
yeah.
and he's in that Boy Scout uniform.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was
So,
classic.
I mean, and I so look forward to the youth that we will meet in the future and be able to help promote the hobby too. And they will eventually become manufacturers in our hobby as well.
Absolutely.
Yep.
He is so polite, well-mannered, just a thoughtful young person. He's refreshing. It's
And
nice to
knowledgeable.
him.
Yes.
Yes,
And
you're right.
knowledgeable.
Yep.
Yeah, we love you, Daniel.
Yeah.
All right, James, what do you think, brother? You came on kind of midway through us producing the show, and we were enlightened by a lot of the things that you introduced to us, including 3D printing. You really have advanced in that technology.
Yeah. Well, now when I first came here, I'd seen you'd done a segment on soldering, and you were talking about your resistance solder iron, and I had a brass steam locomotive, Santa Fe Prairie class, or a Prairie type 262. And I was having a devil of a time getting the pilot. The pilot had fallen off. And I was thinking, well, maybe if I get to know Ken Patterson, maybe I could eventually borrow his solder rig and get this thing fixed out.
How'd that work out for you?
I haven't gotten to it yet. But yeah, I came that first evening and had a good time. I think my dad was with me at the time, and just explored the layout. I remember looking around, seeing all those different scenes. Brought a few of my own models to run, and had fun doing that. And then several models since then, including that DC-3, the Hutchinson Station, a variety of other things. So.
Right.
Yeah. So it's been a lot of fun, and
Mike, you've been here since the very start. You were here with Dave Davis, myself, Chris, from the very first show. I got to throw out the name Dirk Reynolds because, Dirk, you helped me do a lot of videography. You helped me produce my first video that I ever made on weathering steam. You knew stuff I didn't know, but I learned very quickly. But I also very much appreciated what you contributed to what we do. There's just a lot of kumbaya. We can go on, and I don't mind if we do because, you know, there's a lot of great things, and there's so many more good things that are going to happen in the future on this show. We look forward to special guests that would contact us through the What's Neat This Week Facebook page and want to maybe share their work on the show, or various other mom and pop manufacturers that might want to expose their work, or the various folks out there that are putting together train shows, just like what Steve Mantia did. He created that train show that they run down here in Imperial all by himself. Him and his wife Glenda put this together, and they've got a show where they've got a couple of hundred tables.
It was packed. It was completely packed.
400 people show up on a Saturday and, you know, buy and sell and trade trains. And in fact, Steve Mantia, another shout out to you. You were the one that bought us our first 4 lapel mics.
Yeah.
When we were trying to raise the money and trying to come up with concepts on how to improve the quality of the show, he just laid out, you know, helped us out, and we really appreciate that kind of love.
Absolutely.
I got to go back to the very first time, and we still have a What's Neat, what do they call that page where you raise money?
GoFundMe.
We have a GoFundMe page that we never talk about. That's how we actually purchased our very first microphone that was wireless. So we could go to the RPM meet and put a microphone in your face and get good sound quality, because I got to tell you, on videos, sound is 75% of it. You can have great videos, but if you got bad sound, you're going to lose the viewer. And so there's been so many people out there that have helped us with just getting this started. You want to start a podcast? Great, super great idea, but all the equipment involved, and I want to say we've spent tens of thousands of dollars on what we've got now.
What about the guys from Rhodes? They came all the way over here and they did all of our audio for us and tweaked everything for us to make it sound good.
That's correct.
The golden microphones, you know, they're
Heil microphone over in Illinois. That's another good one. And we've patterned our show off of a lot of ones that we saw on YouTube previously, and then worked our way to create what we have done. I'm not saying we're professional or the best, but we're just a bunch of simple model railroaders, just like you, that model every single day, and all we can do is define and explain what it is we do in a simple manner to convey what it is so that it might inspire you. The most important thing that I hear about in this hobby all the time, it's, oh, I'm afraid. I'm afraid to weather that engine. The daughter that's afraid to weather daddy's steam locomotive because she might ruin it. Get over that fear, and you're going to create a work of art that will just make you so proud that next thing you know, you're on the internet, on eBay, selling weathered products to raise money for your own self, for your school, maybe for college.
plus, if you break it, you learn to fix it.
Absolutely right.
And you break it so many times, you're not afraid of breaking it anymore.
1,000 happy little accidents.
Every model is 10 mistakes fixed.
right.
When Steve Mantia brought an O-scale GP9 over here, an Overland Brass GP9, somebody had dropped it on the floor, and this is a pretty heavy model, so there was a lot of indentation of bent brass and pieces. He said, can you fix this? Just like what James mentioned a minute ago. So we went over in the shop, we held it up but with some gloves, we took a torch and absolutely melted the entire front of the locomotive. All the pieces dropped off and splatter shot all over the
You should
floor.
have seen the look on Steve's face when all these pieces started dropping.
But in an hour and a half, we rebent all the brass that was crooked. We reattached it with a resistance soldering rig, and in just a few minutes, it was put back together. Not that Steve wasn't afraid to try to do that himself, but I've already gone through the fear myself, and I know how to do it. I'm not afraid, so I just do it for folks and help them out. It's the fear factor to prevent so many people from doing the amazing work that they could. That's a whole nother talk show. We could go on for hours about that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys showing me how to weather. I was scared to weather. I didn't want to ruin all these great cars, but a little rat-tat-tat and a couple straight lines, and boom, I know how to weather, you know?
Right.
And it's all those little things, those little shortcuts almost that you get a better product out of, you know?
And I love the
I do it
enthusiasm.
this way, but you do it better this way, you
That's
know?
it.
It's just different ways to do it. Now,
Mike has no fear.
He has always make new mistakes.
New mistakes.
New mistakes.
And I so look forward to seeing the new mistakes that Holly makes because she has expressed a desire to really do things in the hobby. How to do scenery, how to do fake fur, how to do so many things. And I welcome your enthusiasm. I can't wait for us to work together on projects and share them with the rest of the viewers. It's going to be fun. Did I word that right?
Yeah. Okay. I want to get back to Lonnie here. I need to know more information about the RPM.
Okay, rock and roll.
So the reason I'm going is because I want to spend some money. So how many vendors do you have?
You want to talk about the vendors?
Right now we have 202 vendor tables.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That includes, I think, as of today, I think we have 68 different vendors coming this year. Another high for us
Wow.
as an event. So we've got all that going on. I know Lonnie's worked particularly hard getting the clinicians this year. Again, he talked a little bit about that, but I wanted to say we have 21 clinics
Wow.
going, and
man.
that's a fantastic variety too of what we're going to present there. As you talked about, there's one guy's doing a expose on a brass piece that he's doing, a super detailing a brass piece. Another medium that Lonnie talked about that was the kit.
Yeah.
So another just great example of what you can learn at an RPM that an ordinary train show, you don't get a chance to learn very much at those. But that's the beauty of RPM is you come in wanting to know something like you say, Joshua, and then taking that desire, learning from the experts, and then getting over the fear like Ken says.
Yeah.
And that's how we all grow in the hobby. So
Right.
So about how long before the actual event will you have a list of all those clinicians so we can kind of judge our couple days by that?
So if you go to www.stlrpm.com, you'll find a list of all the clinicians on there now, what time and what day that they're on.
So the other elephant in the room is all of the layouts that we get to go see, and you have some layouts that we'll be able to view this year as well.
That's correct. We have 2 layouts that are in-home layouts this year. That's back for this year. Again,
I heard 3.
3. We have 3.
Ooh.
Okay, and then so we also have the modular layouts coming this year to the show. We
Yeah.
have 3 of those.
That's going to be
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
So again, a lot of things that are back that we had to give up for a year. Everybody meets at Bandanas on Thursday night for dinner. When they come into town, that's back. We'll be over there starting about, I think, 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And then we'll have also our after dinner
Yeah.
happy hour too.
Yeah, that same night.
Over at the DoubleTree, which is a famous get-together of modelers.
Nice.
If you like
Manufacturers
convincing and just talking to modelers around the country, that's the place.
That sounds great. Everything
Sounds
except
awesome.
for bandanas.
Right.
Next year we need to get you into Sugar Fire. So it's
Yeah.
right down the street,
Absolutely.
no Fallon.
Is
so
it?
yeah,
Close
so
enough? We need to post that.
we'll definitely get that going. So
We brought back the RPM Roundup, which is drinking, socializing at the DoubleTree at about 8:30 to 10:30 after the keynote speaker's done.
Very nice.
They're kind and they give us a lot of food, hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of appetizers, and it's a cash bar, but it's a place to go and meet people and talk more about the hobby after that first day.
So you said Brian Post is the keynote speaker. Will he be
Brian
speaking
Wood.
at? I'm
Brian
sorry,
Wood.
Brian Wood. Will he be speaking at the DoubleTree or at the Collinsville?
At the
Gateway?
Collinsville,
Okay,
in,
great.
in the clinic rooms.
All right.
And then, as you said, go to the website. Just use your own search engine and just look St. Louis RPM. And we pop to the top.
Yeah.
And then there's, thanks to Jeff and his son Eric, who's our webmaster, they've created a pretty good website to just go tab by tab. Do you want to talk about hotels? You want to talk about vendors, historical societies? It's on
Great,
there.
yeah.
And we've got your videos on there, which is fun when you are consumed the whole time you're there. That's why I love to go to Cocoa Beach and Naperville and everywhere else. I can rest. And rest. I have to watch your thing afterwards and learn. You know?
A lot of work coming up.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And we're going to have a lot of people here that Saturday night when we record our show, just like we always do.
right.
We've had,
Line
14,
down
15,
there.
18 people down
18,
here.
yeah.
3 cameras, a lot of microphones. 35 cars in the front yard and about 70 something. And this year we can have as many people as we want. I've upped my insurance, so we're all covered. Right? Last year I was told I can't have more than X amount of people. Game on. Let's have some
now
fun.
they just say we
Bravo.
can't have the bonfire too high this year. That's right.
Yeah. Don't burn down the place. That's the main
That's
thing.
right.
No, we're fine. I don't know how to end this one. In fact, there's no way to really do it. Joshua, you want to do the thing with the YouTube?
The thing with
What are you thinking, babe?
Well, what's neat?
Here, while you guys are talking, like us on YouTube, hit that little subscribe button, ring the bell so you get our notifications. Check us out on Facebook. What's Neat This Week on Facebook.
Share a link.
Yeah. Send us comments. Send us things that you want to see about, want us to talk about.
Okay.
What else?
I want to know what Howie was just thinking.
Go to Yellow
Give it your shot.
Graphics.
Come on, speak up.
Get some of our nice wares that you can wear for the meets at yellsmagraphics.com.
Absolutely.
What else do I got to do?
I don't know. What were you thinking?
It's cool.
She's getting shot at us now.
All right. So, are we going to run trains, or are we going to go to
I don't want to
Frankie
run
G's?
trains. This is such a good show. I just want to keep it going.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you think, brother?
I think it's
What's
time
going to
to
bring the
Let's
next
go run
100
some
shows?
trains.
What's next?
Who knows?
I'll go get wings from Frankie G's, bring them here, and we can all run trains and eat wings. How's that?
Best hobby in the world with some of the best people in it. We're now going to do just what they said. We're going to take our NCE throttles. I'm going to give Holly the hammerhead. And we're going to give Joshua
I'm
this
gonna
wonderful
use
little
my-
one
I'm
right
gonna
here.
use my
And you can
one.
also use your cell phone with it. Here you go, Mike.
Yeah. Okay.
And we are actually tonight going to run some trains.
Yay.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Keep camera one rolling.
Thumbnail.
Rock and roll. Joe Fugate also had something I'm going to clip in at the end of the show.
okay.
He gave us a little ending.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you
Then
very
we're done.
much.
Sweet.
All right.
Is that the first kiss on the show?
I've kissed you on the show before.
Tongue doesn't count.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Yeah, that's right.
My turn is
This is awesome, guys.
Hi there, a big hello to Ken and everybody at What's Neat This Week, and congratulations on your 200th show.
Ken Patterson, I just want to congratulate you on your 200th show. Wow. Just thinking back, you started sending me photos roughly monthly back in 2012, and then finally in October of 2012 you had proposed that we do a column, and so we launched the What's Neat column on Model Railroad Hobbyist magazine. So, wow. Just looking back, I remember one of the first photos you sent me was this Land of the Giants photo, as I call it, of you standing beside this bridge, really beautiful scene. And so you kept sending me still photos, and then finally you got the idea to start doing video. And so the very first What's Neat video that you did was with Mike Budde, and the entire runtime was 1 minute and 50 seconds. Wow. So here's that video, just to go back to memory lane.
Are we? We need some sunshine.
And congratulations, Ken, on your 200th show.
Y'all did good. Did you get everything you wanted to say?
I think so.
Yeah, I think
you
you
did
covered a lot.
You do incredible to go through all of those people, even though you had it on paper. I mean, and they did it twice.
Right.
And I'll bet if you filmed both and compared them, it would be.
The first one was pretty good.
39 minutes even.
39.
I would have thought it was longer, but that worked.
I'm
Well,
so
we don't
glad.
count the first 10 minutes.
Thanks, guys, everybody. Right?
Yes, amen.
Oh my God, you're so awesome.
This is
I
cool.
mean, not that the
Nice
rest
little
of them are
display.
awesome, but you're awesome.
Oh, all right.
I know, right? Thank you for walking into my life, Holly. Okay, we've got it. Go ahead and kill the last camera. Okay, is this recording? All you gotta do is show some teeth and smile and wave or something.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm just gonna hammer. And you. Ready?
Michael rowed the boat ashore. Hallelujah.
Okay, that's good.